Hey everyone, I decided to use my web camera for this update video. Just felt like doing something different. Normally use my phone camera. Well, alright. Oh my gosh, there's so much dust on top of it. Hold on 1 second. Alright, that's much better. Okay, let's move on. So, about that diet update. Let's get to it. I weighed 150.6 pounds this morning. That's down 2 pounds from yesterday. Pretty awesome, honestly. I think it probably has something to do with the fact that I am officially now in ketosis. Very cool. Oh my gosh, I just realized something. I forgot to journal. Oh man, my streak is ruined. I'll still journal though, why not? Okay, moving along. Now, what was eaten today? Well, in the morning, I had a bag of pistachios. I also had 2 eggs on 2 keto-friendly toasts with a decent amount of butter. And 2 cups of coffee. Moving along, what I had for lunch, or I guess dinner, but no, really lunch, although it felt like dinner because I had it at like 5:40 actually. I had a bacon and cheese burger with keto-friendly bread that was lightly toasted with mustard, mayonnaise, and sugar-free ketchup. It was really good. I really liked it. I also had a side of Quest chips, the cheddar-flavored ones, and a can of A&W Zero Sugar root beer. And that was very delicious. I really liked that. Okay, well, moving along. The last thing I ate today was a leftover steak that our family friend didn't eat and gave to me. I warmed it up in the air fryer because I wanted it warm. But I gotta be honest, I'm not a huge fan of oven cooked or air fried cooked steak. It tastes like the beefy part is too beefy, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like how people don't like fish taste if the fish tastes too fishy, but in this case, it's like beef, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, that was kind of a bummer. But I was still grateful that she gave me it. I also had a bag of Quest Chips chili lime flavored version and another can of A&W Zero Sugar. Half of it I poured into a cup and then poured a little bit of heavy cream in there. It's really good. If you haven't tried it before, it tastes like a root beer float, but without all the sugar and calories. Give it a shot. Gives the soda a nice creamy flavor. And then the rest I had was just regular A&W Zero Sugar. Exercise today included walking at work and a little bit of running at work. Okay, now we can get on to the daily update portion. So let's do that right now. Okay, so when I woke up, I was woken at like, I think 6:55 this morning. My mom wanted me to move my car out of the way from our family friend who wanted to go somewhere. So I did just that. I got into my car. I drove around the block because I was so tired I didn't want to back up and look behind me because I'd rather just drive all around the block. Maybe I was just so tired I wasn't thinking straight. I don't know. But I drove around, and when I came back and parked up in the front of the house, all the way up on the driveway, because we have a street sweeper coming in today, because it's the day after trash day, I immediately went into my room and I went back to sleep for another 5 hours. So from like 7 all the way, well, 4 hours actually, 7 all the way to 11. Pretty insane, not gonna lie. Well, when I woke up, I noticed that I have like a sore on on my body that kind of crept up out of nowhere. Um, it's kind of worrying me, and so I'm gonna get that checked out by the doctor. Hopefully, it's nothing to worry about, because it's something that appeared way back in the day. I think it was like an abscess cyst, and I got rid of it like 2 years ago, and it feels like it wants to come back, which is something I'm really worried about, because the first time I got rid of it, it was the most painful doctor experience I have ever been through in my entire life. In fact, it was so painful that when I like was done with that procedure, trying to walk back to the car of our family friend was an effort in and of itself. And I was just so in pain. Like every single step, every single movement felt like I had to concentrate all of my effort to move, because all I could think about was how in pain I was, and it was insane. So I'm hoping that because I'm planning on going to the doctor early in the morning on Friday. I get this checked out as soon as I can in the urgent care, and hopefully it's not returning, because if it is, that would suck. I mean, I'm sitting right now, and I'm shaking, and where the location is, I mean, I feel something there. It feels kind of like it's like maybe a blood clot or something that's like backing up the blood flow in that certain area, which has me worried. But I'm hoping that I can get it checked and worked on. I mean, if I have to go through it again, I guess I'll just go through it again. But my gosh, am I not looking forward to it if I have to? And this area was causing me a little bit of trouble early this morning. See, I was like walking around, and like every single decision felt like there was an extra weight to it, because my mind was being held back by like the slight pain in the cyst area that I had to deal with 2 years ago. So yeah, it has me worried. So I tried to get my mind off it by cooking some eggs, frying them on a pan with butter, cooking some toast, putting that eggs on the toast, and then brewing a cup of coffee. And then I went in, our family friend went into the front room. She came back from a trip. I greeted her. She greeted me. And then I went into the den, and I was trying to watch TV, try to get my mind off my issue for now. And I decided to continue watching this guy on YouTube. I think his name is Satire or something like that. He's a YouTuber who plays every PlayStation 3 game that is like considered bad, or just a personal like challenge he puts himself through, and he wants to get every trophy in every game he plays. I find these videos pretty interesting and entertaining solely for the fact that it's a person who is dead set on completing something he sets his mind to, no matter what the cost is, even if it's the most mind-numbing and horrifically bad game he's ever touched. I think that's what makes it fun. It's like, oh, he went through this, so no one else has to. So he's kind of doing like gamers like a service in a way. I mean, the way his videos go, it's not too dissimilar to how my videos go, where I kind of just casually talk about exactly what happened. Except in his case, his videos are extremely well. They're decently edited with good pace, and they show everything that he's doing, so you know that he's doing everything he can to get his platinum, and you believe that he's getting his platinum legitly. My sister came up into the den as I was watching, asking me what I was watching. Told her exactly what I just said. Satire, trophy collector, trying to play through different games and collect all the trophies. I think she watched a little bit, but to be fair, his videos are a bit more on the niche side, where they really only appeal to like certain like groups of people like me, where I'm like I like it because like I like video games, and I also think the idea of completing a video game is kind of an interesting challenge, and so seeing someone go through the energy and effort to do that is engaging to me. But that's not everyone, so that's why I say a certain group of people, and that's me, along with whoever continues watching his videos, which is a lot of people apparently, because his videos got like thousands of views, some in the millions. But eventually I did get bored of the video, so I paused in the middle. And also, I was wearing like a sweater, and the den I was watching the video in was getting kind of hot, so I turned off the television and I went into the living room and closed the glass doors so it wouldn't get cooked in there. And I remember I was sitting in my room, and originally I was planning on editing for 20 minutes on my Brain Jam Extra video. However, here's something that happened, and that something was that with I got a notification on my phone when I was looking through my notifications. Apparently, I didn't what's a good way? How is a good way to put this? Oh, yes, my AMC theater premiere membership expired, where it waives your online fees and increases your points that you get for going to the theater. Now, I gotta be honest, I haven't really been to the theater a whole lot last year. And to be honest, I do feel kind of bad about that. And the reason why is because I enjoy the theater going experience. I think the idea of like having something that still exists in the current modern era where people can in a way have a communal experience where they can all choose to go to a theater and see the same film and all have their different reactions. I think that's a really valuable and treasurable experience that I really don't want to see go away. Because the idea of everyone just being sucked into their own worlds with their phones and their own smart devices, and everyone being disconnected and not really having a shared experience, it just feels like we're disconnecting. And I feel like movie theaters are one of the rare times where entertainment allows people to connect again, instead of divide or disconnect. So that's why I think theaters really should stick around. I think they're really important. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll renew my Premier membership. But I always immediately check off the auto renewal feature after resubscribing, because I don't like the idea of them just constantly being able to tap into my bank account every other year, because it just feels kind of like I'm allowing a big corporation to just suck my wallet when I'm not looking. And I prefer like them to take money from my wallet on my own terms. And shutting off auto renewal makes me feel like I have agency when it comes to something like that. So, yeah, but yeah, now that I have the Premier membership for at least another year, I think I'm going to go to the theater a lot more often. There's a new movie that I found that one of my favorite YouTube channels, Simi and Jimmy Treehouse, was talking about, called Marty Supreme. I have yet to listen to their podcast about that movie. Instead, I want to experience this film just completely raw because I haven't really heard of it. But I looked at a synopsis on AMC, and it said, "This guy goes through hell and back to achieve his dream." And when I heard that, I thought, wait, does he literally go to hell? That actually sounds kind of interesting. But it turns out it was metaphorical. Like when I thought about it, yeah, that makes sense. It's metaphorical. But I went to my sister after renewing the membership and looking at that movie, and I was like, hey, do you want to see the trailer to this movie to see if it's something that's worth our time? And she said, yeah. And then our family friend also said, yeah. But I'm pretty sure that I don't know. She was like in the other room, and it seemed like she wasn't able to get a good view of the screen, and she probably may have been on her phone because me and my sister were watching the trailer, but our family friend, I couldn't tell if she was continuing to watch it or go on her phone or whatnot, but maybe she was. I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, this isn't about her. This is about our experience watching the movie or the trailer. And this film looks really funny in a goofy but endearing sort of way, but also kind of dark and edgy because it's an A24 movie, and A24 movies are extremely edgy and extremely dark. And seeing this film trailer, it's about the story is essentially about a guy played by Timothy Chalamet, who, if you don't know, he played Paul Atreides in the latest Dune adaptation. Both of them. He realizes he wants to be the best table tennis player of all time. And he's being told, no, you aren't. You're never going to succeed. You know, that voice in your head that says you should stop. You should listen to it. And like, the trailer basically shows him going through each tournament and trying his best to win each tournament. And when I saw that and just thought of how like interesting and yet a little silly and goofy that premise is, like, I want to be the greatest table tennis player in all the world. It sounds silly when you say it like that, but I feel like if approached in the right way, it could be really fun, but it could also be surprisingly serious and deeply engaging as well. And that's what this trailer gave me the impression of. The way it looked was extremely gritty. It was very edgy. It was very like forward, and it just was like it looked like it wasn't messing around, so which I thought was really interesting. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing Marty Supreme. But of course, you know, I'm a budget-minded guy. I want to see stuff when it's not full price. So I think if I were to go see the film, I'd definitely see it on either Tuesday or Wednesday, which is when they have half off sales. So yeah, I'll definitely think about it. Well, after we were done watching that, and I was talking about what I thought about it, and my sister was talking about what she thought about it, I eventually decided to try to go and continue editing my Brain Jam video. Now, the thing with trying to go back and edit this was that my computer, which uses an NVIDIA GPU, don't get too excited, it's a 2060 laptop GPU, needed a update. So I updated it while I was editing my video. Then it popped up with, in order to implement the update, you need to restart the computer. I clicked the restart computer button when it said that in the middle of editing, which I did like about 9 minutes of. Once it was done rebooting and implementing the update, I opened the Premiere Pro app again. And when I went to my Brain Jam video, Brain Jam Extra Episode 2, all of the progress I did, not just for the 9 minutes, but for the last 20-minute session that I did before, like the previous day, was gone. So yeah, it was like a major bummer. I was like really annoyed. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to edit this all over again. That's terrible. But I was like, well, beggars are no, well, I was gonna say beggars can't be choosers because that doesn't make any sense. I guess what I'm gonna I guess what I was trying to say is, okay, from now on, every time I finish this section, I'm going to click the save button no matter what. So, yeah, that's what I decided to do. But by the time I was going to start continue editing, I ran out of time. After my computer rebooted, I needed to get dressed and leave for work. My shift was 1 to 10 today. So I got my clothes on and I combed my hair and I said goodbye to my sister, our family friend. My mom was off at work at this time. Said I loved them both. And I drove off to work, where when I eventually got there, I was given the duty of front end bagging, which went along quite smoothly. Nothing to really say at that point. Second hour, I was given the duty of a lot, pushing carts in the corral. Went pretty smooth. Nothing to really complain about there either. The weather was fantastic today, by the way. It was clear skies. They were really windy and beautiful. And the wind was just like a perfectly refreshing, crispy air. Like not too chilly and cold, but not like warm. It was like a good 70, 2-degree weather, in my opinion. I loved it. I found it really nice. I even stopped by one of my coworkers and said, this is one of the reasons why I enjoy doing a lot so much. It's just getting to experience the outside and being alone with your own thoughts, especially in weather like this, is really something else. So, really cool. Eventually, a lot was done, and then I continued bagging. But before I did, I asked for my first break, and I was given it. So I spent that first break doing some breath work. Not much to say other than it was nice and relaxing and really calming. And I liked it. It was the Breath with Sandy Cosmic Energy breathwork video I followed through with, if anyone wants to know. And then after that, I went down and I was continuing to help bag for the next 2 hours. Something kind of interesting happened. There was an argument being had with some ladies about a car that was parked in a handicap area, but not in an actual parking spot, but in an area that was in between two handicap park zones. The signal or the symbol on the road with like the lines, like the blue lines slashed across, that's supposed to signify don't park here. But there was a car parked there. And so I was like, oh, well, I hope whatever happens, it gets resolved, because there was one lady who was parked there who was in the handicap who was really, really upset about it and like yelling, why is there someone parked where they're not supposed to be? So it was pretty interesting. And then when I went back to continue my bagging duties, there was a lady, older lady, who wanted my help bringing her to the car. So she held my arm like this, and I walked her over to the vehicle. And then, because she got word of the fact that the car was in the wrong spot. And then she asked if the car could be backed into an actual parking spot once we got there. So the car was backed into the parking spot. And once that was done, I ended up helping the lady back into the building where she got her cart and asked if I could bring her some cat food. So I brought the cat food over, and then she finished her shopping and asked me to bring her to the car again, where I brought her stuff into the vehicle. And then she left. And yeah, it was a pretty interesting experience. Can't say that's happened too many times. I've worked at the place I work at. But when I eventually walked back to the entrance of the store, one of my coworkers who was doing a lot at the time wanted to talk to me about how they asked like how the person's like doing, and I said uh, the only information that I really got was that they said that they were like out of breath because it seems like they were they enjoyed smoking. And then the person told me that they hope that the person who drove thinks about like to the idea of stopping to drive, because if they're making decisions where they're parking where they're clearly not supposed to, then potentially that could be a hazard not just for them but for people around them in the vehicle. And I actually did experience something like that was more drastic, where an older person who kind of became a little too delirious got in their vehicle, and they thought that their accelerate pedal was their brake pedal. And so they pressed the accelerate pedal when they put the car out of park and into drive. And they crashed into two cars and then drove off and then stopped in front of the store. Luckily, they weren't hurt. Thankfully, they weren't hurt. They were okay, but they ended up causing a lot of damage as well. So, I feel like if you get to a point where you're starting to get confused about what's, where to park or where the brake or the accelerate pedal is, it may be best to call it quits on driving altogether. I mean, I know you're in a way you're like getting rid of your agency and you're not your ability to take care of yourself, but sometimes it's best to hand the reins to someone else if it means it keeps everyone safe. And the interesting thing was like before all that happened, I remember I was taking an order out to someone, as our delivery option for the store. And I remember, like, I said, "Yeah, how are you?" And the other person said, "Yeah, I'm doing good. But sadly, my father won't be able to drive." And I was like, "Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry about that." And when I heard that, I was like, well, maybe I know there's these cyber taxis that are being made by Tesla. Maybe one of these days he'll be able to get in that car and he'll take him where he wants to go. I don't know if those self-driving cars will be okay to use. And as of right now, I think there's still a lot of room for improvement for a car like that. But I feel like in the very near future, cars that will be able to self-drive, that won't get into any accidents, they'll be completely safe to use, will hopefully, I think the number one recipients for cars like that really should be people who are like older, who still want to travel or go wherever they want to go, but there's no risk to them getting harmed or harming others. I think that would be a good viable option for a auto drive car like that. But preferably when the technology has been perfected. Because right now I still hear like there's horror stories of like, cyber trucks and like Tesla self-driving cars that end up getting into accidents. And yeah, that is that's scary. So I'm hoping that future will be fully figured out in probably by the next decade, maybe even sooner than that. We'll see. But anyways, after that whole experience, I continued bagging and doing a little bit of delivery every now and then. Very nice and friendly with the customers. Did what I needed to do. Punched out for lunch, and when I left, I arrived home. I was greeted by my sister and our family friend, and I decided to make my cheeseburger. Our family friend left. My sister was in the house. I decided to get a soda, my A&W Zero Sugar with the Quest chips, and I fried 3 pieces of bacon with a frozen burger patty that I reheated on the stovetop with the water and the covering of the pan method. I had that good to go on 2 keto breads with mustard, mayonnaise, ketchup. And yeah, as I was eating, I was continuing to watch the Jesse Michaels video where he's talking with this guy who supposedly keeps on having encounters with angelic or alien-like beings. One of the more interesting things that I remember from it was that apparently they talked about there was like an interview that Jesse Michaels had with David Rush, and after the video went live, it was like blacklisted from YouTube algorithm, like the YouTube algorithm and recommendations, and that caused Jesse Michaels to go, "Whoa, what's going on here?" And I think it was probably had something to do with the fact that it was a very touchy subject, and or maybe it's just all one big psyop. They're trying to make the information seem a lot more legit and interesting than it really is by like hiding it, but really it's not hidden. It's still available to be seen, but who can say? Got into a whole conversation about that with my sister, um, which needed a ride to the bank, and she decided to take a ride with me on my way back to work because my work is close to the bank she uses. So I drove there with her, and she got out, said goodbye to her. She went off to the bank, and then I went off back to work. Where the last 4 hours was spent with the first hour just bagging, second hour spent taking out the trash, and doing a half-hour sweeps. Apparently, during that time, one of our main sweeper of the day, or janitor of the day, he apparently needed to put some spill magic outside on some concrete because there was a car that was leaking oil that had left by the time he went to cover the oil up with the spill magic. But yeah, it was lot of oil in that area. It was pretty spooky, not gonna lie. Hopefully, though, all of it's gone and it could be swept away, and everyone can walk to the store in safety without worry of slipping accidentally. Looks like he did a really good job. And then I ended up bringing in 3 boxes of bags that were covered in paper, not cardboard. And I restocked the bags in the check stands. I brought in the carts and the signs. And yeah, I did my best to clear a lot, as well as bagging for customers. Not much to say other than had some fun interactions here and there with my coworkers and customers. That were pretty cool. Then, when it was time to go, I punched out. I said goodbye to my boss. My other coworkers were off in other parts of the store, and I just wanted to go, so I left. And when I left, I went into my car, but my car's windows were like covered in like mist, so I had to wipe the mist off so I could clearly see where I was going without having to worry about like looking through a misty window or having to open my car door windows. And I was able to get to be nice and clear. I drove off home, and when I got home, I decided to go in. Well, I was looking through YouTube on my phone in my recommended pages. One of the things recommended to me was a clip of the Smiling Friends of them discovering the Earth is flat, which is a pretty funny clip, especially with the reveal of the glass dome around the Earth. It was hilarious. And I watched that in my car before getting out of my car and going into the house where my family friend greeted me. I asked her, "Where's everyone?" She said, "My mom's asleep. My sister was out." She said that there was steak she didn't eat that I could have. I said, "Thank you." I warmed up the steak in the air fryer, found out 350 for 6 minutes with 3 minutes on each side was the best method. And then I watched a new Red Letter Media video that I still haven't finished yet because because I decided to continue working on my Brain Jam editing session after I was done eating, but I was watching the new Red Letter Media video, which was really funny and interesting. It was about some of the later releases, like Five Nights at Freddy's 2, If I Had Legs, I Would Kick You, other films that they discussed. There was like one where like two characters are like grossly merging together, even though they shouldn't, which looked freaky. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting collection of different films. Then I felt the urge to do my 20 minutes of Brain Jam editing and 15 minutes of contour line practice. So I edited 15 minutes. I actually was able to get done a new section of my video that I hadn't edited before. So I felt really rewarded and really good about that. I'm glad I was able to get that done. And I'm getting faster and more efficient at editing than I was the previous day, showing that I'm clearly learning even just by putting a little bit of effort in each day. So, just reinforcing the method of at least a little pays off with a lot in the long run. And I did some contour line drawing, and by finding a live model to base my contour line work off of. And here's what that looks like. I took a screenshot of my tablet that's actually in front of my screen right now. Oh gosh, that's pretty dark, light. Is there a way I can make it so you can see that? Let's see. There we go. Whoa, what's that? Why is it? There we go. Okay, so that's what I did. Pretty interesting, huh? Yeah. I think it's nice. Holy cow, it's dark in here. Let's crank up that lightness. There, that's better. And then after that, I decided to move, turn on my webcam and record this update video. And that's pretty much the day in a nutshell. Thanks for checking it out. The time, if you couldn't tell, at the corner right there is 1:02. So I think it would be a good time to start getting ready for bed, take my vitamins, brush my teeth, all that good stuff. Well, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye.